Hello, YouTube. Today we have great news. If you guys have been following along with Gamescom, with Xbox, there has been a lot of Age of Empires 4 news. This includes the Xbox release for Age of Empires 4, but also more importantly, and what I've been gonna be focusing on this video, the hints at the new expansion. So they technically did announce the new expansion at the Xbox preview, but they didn't really give too much details on it. So they showed us that the new expansion is going to be called, what is it? The Sultan's Ascend. Yeah, the Sultan's Ascend. So, and they're going to say it's going to be a journey through the Middle East, I think. That's what they kind of said. And you can wish list it on Steam. And this is actually where I found these photos. Yeah, so we don't have a trailer. We don't have any information on what civs they're offering, what if they're doing what else they're adding to the game, but they said there was going to be a lot of content, the biggest expansion that they've had yet, which I mean we had the other two civs, but this is like probably I'm not really sure how you define expansion, but we've had the other two civs and this is going to be the biggest expansion we had. So there's going to be a lot of content, probably meaning campaigns, probably meaning civs, but to find out what exactly we're getting, I'm going to be going over through these pictures and just seeing if we can decipher through these. But yeah, obviously we got Xbox added to AOE4, so there's other big news, and it's good for the game. And yeah, I'm just excited to share that with you guys. So let's go through these photos to see what we can find out. So this first one, um, yeah, this one is interesting, but not as interesting as other ones. This guy, this guy looks like he's a Byzantine horse. Honestly, someone mentioned to me that this one looked like a Byzantine tagma. I'll actually show that to you guys here. See. Yeah, so they were special Byzantine horses too. I mean, there's also the cataphract, but can't find a good photo. But they have that special like mace. It could just be a campaign. I think it probably is for the campaign because we have the Notre Dame in the back, and that's a French. That is a French wonder, obviously, right? So what's the point of having a French wonder for a new civ or a new unit kind of thing? It doesn't really make sense to have that. Um, with a new unit here. So this is probably for the campaign. And what a lot of people have been saying is this is probably a crusade campaign where you're going through the Middle East and you're fighting all the the Muslim civs or whatever. But it's also a little bit difficult because it's Rise of the Sultanate, I think. That was the Sultan's Ascend. That was the title of the expansion. So it's a bit strange you'd have the Sultan's Ascend, but for the Crusades. Well, maybe the Sultans end up beating the Crusaders, which I mean I don't know that much about Crusade history, but they did, they won in the end, right? They held on to Jerusalem. I'm not sure which Crusade we would even be going over this period. All right, so this one not as interesting. Probably part of the campaign. Other than that, I don't see too many things that are of note here. This is just it just looks like French stuff. Yeah. Okay, and the next photo, this one's a bit more interesting. We have the Achery. I mean, this is obviously the Burgrave. Um, that's the Achery uh, portrait, right? On the knights and the Ransknechts and the men-at-arms. So this is definitely the Achery. They have black armor. Looks very Crusade kind of thing. I even tried to look up what armor the Crusades use. I mean, sorry, the Achery used for the Crusades, and it looked very similar, like Maximilian armor, very dark. Yeah, very dark, very similar to what we see in this photo. Yeah, so this to me looks like this is part of the campaign as well. It could be multiplayer, but it's to me it looks probably more focused on the campaign. So I do expect that this expansion is going to have a lot of campaign aspects because in the short video that we did get of them talking about the new expansion, it must have been like a minute. They did talk about this expansion being having a lot of content, it being the biggest one that we've seen, so I would expect campaigns. All right, and the next photo, this is a very interesting photo. So this is obviously the Muslims sieging what could be Constantinople, like in theory, like obviously it's very small, um, but this could be siege of something. We have the English Longbowmen here, right? So the Crusades defending, like I don't really know, like it's hard to say, really, like or them just defending the Byzantines because obviously you don't want the Muslims to invade parts of Europe. And so what is interesting to note in this photo is that this tower is different, right? Like, what is this tower? This could just be part of the campaign, but maybe it's a Byzantine tower, probably not, but interesting to note. So we actually have two different teams here. This is blue and this is green. Maybe they're different civs. I watched Aussie Drongo's video, and he noted that these tents could be maybe a new Muslim civ. Interesting. The issue I think is that Brew also has these as well, and Brew looks like Abbasid, so it could just be part of the campaign. Although a big DLC and stuff, having three civs is pretty popular, right? Especially in Age of Empires 3, they had Japan, China, God, Japan, China, what was the third one? India, and Iroquois, Aztec, Sioux. That was the Sioux was in the original Age of Empires 3. I think they changed the name of the Sioux to something different. The Lakota. Yeah, it was Lakota now. But you get the point. Like three civs. So one would be, I'll get into that picture later, but one would be Japan, one would be Byzantines, and then one would maybe be a third Muslim civ. Um, you kind of expect a Muslim civ because the theme of the expansion is the Sultan ascends. So yeah, right. So in theory, that this green civ could be a new Muslim civ. Maybe the Mamelukes. No, who knows? Okay, and this picture is obviously the Japanese, right? And I'm super happy to get the Japanese because I saw the video. I'm like, the Sultan ascends. I'm like, oh my God, we're not gonna get Vikings. We're not gonna get Japan. We're not gonna get Korea. We're gonna get like something. We're gonna get Ottomans times two or something. It's just we already got the Ottomans. We already got I don't know Malians or whatever. Like I'm excited for Byzantines, but I want something fresh, something new, right? And this is kind of what I wanted, which is awesome to see. I mean, there's so much to look at for in this picture. Um, with all the architecture, right? These are probably granaries, probably mills. You have villages surrounding them. The architecture looks very similar to like Japanese architecture. So if this isn't Japan, I would be very shocked. I mean, yeah, this has got to be Japan, right? These are horses. These are spearmen. These kind of look like samurai. Those also look like samurai in the back here. Those like archers, Yumi, and Age of Empires 3, what those are called. Just looking around the base, this kind of looks like a blacksmith. Also, where's the gold mine? What are these guys doing here? This is the one thing I'm a bit confused about in this picture. Like, what are these villagers doing? Because that does look like a blacksmith, but also Doesn't really explain what they're doing here. These guys are obviously farming. This is a mill or some sort of special granary kind of thing. That's a barracks. Very cool design, by the way. I mean, these things are amazing. Just love the look of all of these buildings. This is a house, which is interesting because there's a house with a farm. Pretty cool. All these houses have farms beside them. Very, very cool to see. That's a market in the corner there. The lumber camp looks the same. Um, Fine, of course. Everything else just looks so amazing. So that's the town center. Looks amazing. The archery range. Yeah, I mean, looks like an interesting civ. We don't see any landmarks here, um, but we see a lot of the architecture from the buildings, like the normal standard buildings we see. Pretty cool to just look at and dissect of what's going to be Japan's kind of in-game things. And this picture is quite interesting as well. So originally I thought these were cataphracts, special Byzantine knights per se. But as I looked more and more into this photo, I kind of disagree with my statement earlier because there's a few things why. But I initially thought they were cataphracts because I really wanted a Byzantine civ. It's the Crusades, or I think it's the Crusades, right, that they're trying to showcase. Sorry, it's exciting. But I wanted it to be the Byzantines, but I don't think it is, and I don't think it is because you can because of the screenshot, right? Like they're attacking towards us, and behind them is Abbasid Tower, like Abbasid Spearmen. It looks like. So why would they be attacking towards us if they're the Byzantines with Abbasid stuff in the background? Like it doesn't really make sense. And I don't know what this special guy in the middle is doing, but he doesn't look particularly Byzantine. Let's just say that. But these horses do look Byzantine. I really hope Byzantines are in the game, but yeah, probably probably part of the campaign, and probably either a Muslim civ or I mean probably the Mamluks. Like I think it's got to be Japan, Byzantines, and then a third Muslim civ, probably yeah, Mamluks. So that would be my guess. It's amazing to get these photos. I was really hoping for a tribal, but this is just such good news that I don't even care anymore. And before we got the wish list on Steam, essentially got no news, right? It was just like we're going to be releasing a big expansion. We didn't have these photos, and it could have been really anything. Like the name, the Sultan's Ascend, doesn't doesn't like tell you that they're going to have Japan in the game. I was like, oh no, Japan, but the Sultans ascend with Japan, like I'll take it, man. Like the Sultans can ascend, and Japan can just be part of it. So really good news for AOE4. Xbox is out now. Yeah, I mean AOE4 is booming, man. Glad to see it. I hope you guys are as excited as I am, and we'll see you another time. Thanks for watching. Take care.